In this video, I will show how to develop Design Guide with the Design Guide Developer Studio in ADS from Keysight. First, I will explain the benefit of a Design Guide. The biggest advantage is that all templates and examples are always in the same place and can be easily accessed, inserted into any workspace. There is no need to search through the database for a template or example. In the schematic window, you have here the Design Guide menu. And when you create a new Design Guide and you have installed it, and then you find the new Design Guides here in this area. These are all my custom Design Guide what I have created. So I've created one for an amplifier design, for mixer design, X parameter, multi-port, broadband, matching, power electronics, high-speed digital, and others. Now I choose an example from the high-speed digital design guide. Before I use my examples, I copy here some files into the workspace. Here I can also add a picture for documentation. Behind this copy function, there's just a simple IL code, what you can also add in the Design Guide Developer Studio. So I go back to Design Guide, HSD, and I choose Mix Mode as parameter. So here I get a pre-configured data display and a schematic. I have already placed the mix mode as parameter equation because when I want to compare different models, then it is easy in the data display to add the different graphs to the plot. So this is the data of my first simulation. Then I want to change here the length, and then I change the dataset name, 130 millimeters, run the simulation. Double click on the plot, choose the new dataset, type as DD21 and add it to the plot. And now you can compare both results. You can also add templates or subcircuits to any schematic. Here in the HSD design guide, I have a template for optimizer, add optimizer for mix mode as parameter. So I just place it. So I have here the goals, optimizer. This is already pre-configured and I could just start the optimization. So you can also add subcircuits. A subcircuit has a hierarchy, so you can push into the hierarchy and now you see the model. A template does not have any hierarchy, it's just added to the schematic. Now I will show how to create a design guide from scratch. In this workspace, I have already created a few cells. In this cell, I have a channel simulation. The goal is here to have a template that the user just replaces here the device under test with an EM model and run the simulation. And afterwards, you see the data in the data display. So the data display is pre-configured. I have also cells which I will add as a subcircuit or as a template. The Design Guide Developer Studio is in the Design Guide menu, Design Guide Developer Studio, Start Design Guide Studio. Here you can just create a new file. File, New, Design Guide Test. Okay. And now this tool generates now a file structure. I will show later where in your database. So in my group, you see now dataset, design, display, and subnetwork. So you can add here files in these groups. But you probably also want to add templates. Then you just add here from the content type the template to my group. First, I will add a channel simulation, a schematic, and a data display. Therefore, I click here on Design. I have to navigate through the database, choose the workspace, the library, and then the cell name and add it to the design container. The same I do for the data display. So it adds also the data set automatically. If you have a large data set, I would recommend just replace it with a dummy DS file that you keep the design guide installation file small. This cell is an optimization setup. I'm going to add this as a template. First, I click on Template, choose the workspace, and then the library, and then the template, and add it to the templates container. Here I have a subcircuit with 8 differential lines. This component I will add as a subcircuit to the design guide. Choose subnetworks, and then the workspace, then the library, and then the subnetwork, and add to the design guide. Save it. Next step is to create a menu structure. Open Menu Editor. In this field you can define the design guide name. I choose the name HSD templates _test. So you can add a design guide to the schematic, to the layout, or to the main window. In the first menu, I usually provide some help or README. For that, I create a simple AL code. So I choose here the menu Execute AL function, then open the text editor and write the code DE_info in quotes. Here's my info. When I have a more complex code, then I write it in Notepad++ and copy and paste it here into this field. With the tab dialog editor, you can also add some tabs and create a complete menu structure. But I keep it simple and stay just here in Open Menu Editor and create here my simple menu structure. Next, I will create a menu to open a template for channel simulation. It will open the schematic and the data display. First, I create a new menu. Type channel sim and choose Open Schematic Display. And then I have here my group and choose the example channel sim div. Okay. You can create a well-structured design guide. Here in the basic template for power electronics, I did it already. So I have here my templates, and so I have here a submenu or optimizers and so on. But I haven't done this for the HSD design guide. So this is just a design guide without hierarchy. All menus are flat. When I want to create a submenu for impedance and S parameter, I just move these 4 menus to the right. So later when I click here on the impedance, and then I can choose one of these 4 menus. The same I can do for the multi-layer models and so on. It depends how you want to have the menu. Here, when it is flat and so you see all together, or you have a well-structured design guide menu. Before you assign the cells to the menu, you also have to add them to the subfolders: template, subnetwork, design, or display. In action, you can decide how you want to place or open a cell. Just to open a schematic and display, only open a schematic, open only a display, open a tab dialog, a help file, place a subnetwork, or place a template, show palette, or execute an AL file. So I go now back to the simple test design guide. As next, I add another menu to add a subnetwork. So it is a div channel 8, and then I choose here place subnetwork, and I also want to add a template. This is the channel optimization. And then I choose here place template. You can only add items what you have added on the left. This test design guide is not yet available in my design guide menu. And now I'm going to create this design guide menu. Before I create the design guide, you have here different options. You can add a version control, but I don't use this feature. You can also change the preferences here in this menu. So I control the version here. For example, version 1.0. And then please create the design guide always in the home directory. Sometimes you don't have right permission in the installation directory. Save it and then create the design guide. Now you have to choose again home directory and click on package. This message tells me that the design guide name is not valid. So I have to go here into File, Preferences, and change the design guide name and remove the special characters. So it only allows letters, upper and lower cases, and numbers. Therefore, I just make here a simple design guide name. I go back to create the design guide, choose the home directory and package. And now you see it works. To have the new design guide available in the design guide menu, you have to restart ADS. Before I restart ADS, I show you another option. So in the design guide menu, you have preferences. Here you can decide which design guide menu style you want to have. Now I switch use a selection dialog box window, then restart ADS. After the restart of ADS, open any schematic view. And in the design guide menu, we see now the new design guide. So when I click here, then it opens a window where you just select which cells what you want to see. So here we have the README. When you open the README, then it gives you here the information. This is what I have defined in the AEL code. When I have first time started the Design Guide Developer Studio, I promised to give more information about the file structure. When you create a new design guide and save it, so it creates in your ADS home a new directory, studio files. When you don't know where is your home directory, just go in the ADS main window, Tools and Configuration Explorer. So here you find your home path. In Studio Files, you find all your custom design guides. This is the design guide what we just created. This is the location where the Developer Studio stores all data for design guide creation. A few minutes ago, I also showed how to package the design guide. When the Developer Studio has finished, then it stores the installation files, the .deb file in the studio files in the design guide name. But it also creates a new design guide directory in your home. Under each ADS home directory, you find always a directory EEsof. And here you find the directory design guides and projects. This is also the location where the Developer Studio stores the file structure for the design guide. Whenever you use the design guide in ADS, it takes the data from here. In the following part of this video, I will show how to add files to a design guide. To add a file to a design guide, first you have to copy the files to the Studio Files directory. Here is my double pulse test templates design guide. I have added here to the AL directory all the files what I want to have in the design guide or copy later from the design guide menu to the current workspace. Before you package the design guide, you have to add a new menu. Copy files to current workspace, for example, and choose Action Execute AL function and add here the AL code, which copies the file to the workspace. The AEL code is very simple. First, you define a function. And here I have two variables. The first point to the ADS installation directory and the second to the home directory. Here you need to create the path. This path is the location from where the file is copied to your workspace. So this file is copied to the data directory in the current workspace. I usually take these few lines of code as a template, just copy and paste. I select, paste it, and then I go to search, replace, type here 1, click here in selection and choose 51, replace all. Then I take 2, type 52, and now I have replaced the file names. But you also need to just to copy here your file name. When you use copy and paste, don't forget to replace the design guide name with your current design guide name. These few lines are the end of the AEL code. The code is closed with a curly bracket and executed. At the end, I also have an AL command which reports to the user that the files has been copied to the current workspace. When you have installed one of my design guides, just navigate to your ADS home, EEsof Design Guides Projects, and here in Basic DPD Double Pies Test Template, you find under AL copy files. Just use this AL file and modify it. Copy and paste this file to the Design Guide Developer Studio, to the menu, and edit AL code. And now you can just repackage your design guide, and all files will be available in the design guide. So now I go into one of my design guide. I take here the double pies test, copy files to the current workspace. Files has been copied. Now we see here I have picture here. This picture I use for some explanation in my templates in the data display. And in the data directory, there are also several files. The S parameter from an EM simulation which models the layout. And this CSV file or MDF file comes from a scope from a measurement. So I have already copied all files to my current workspace. So when I open now a template, let me take here the double pies test for SiC MOSFET or GaN components. Here this component uses this SIO file. When I don't copy this file, then this would be not available. And also other files. In the data display, I have added picture, and this picture is also copied to the workspace. This explains how the double pies simulation works. I hope you have now an idea how to create a design guide with the Design Guide Developer Studio. The advantage of a design guide is all templates and examples are always in the same place and can be easily accessed and inserted into any workspace. There is no need to search the database. With this methodology, you can provide your team pre-configured schematic and data display templates, sub-circuits of any custom components, pre-configured optimization, batch, simulation, variable sweep, etc. And also provide customized AL codes. It also allows to build up a customized design flow to guide your team through the design process. Thank you very much for watching, and have fun creating your own design guides.